The sub-organization will pay the amount to the main organization. The main organization will provide the space. Whereas in client-side scripting, whichever browser they want, they can able to perform. Whereas here, the browser, whichever may be, that doesn't matter. The server itself will perform all the operation. Whenever we'll move the cursor on that particular column, here itself, the text will change. There are two types of scripting. One is client-side scripting and one more is server-side scripting. Welcome back to One and All. Myself, Vasanta, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Today, we have to start with the last session of Web Designing chapter. Already in the previous class, you have studied regarding which are the different types of form elements. Then what do you mean by forms? What is the main use of forms? Regarding that, you have studied. With that, you have studied the program on form elements. Form is nothing but here in the output screen, we can able to perform input operation. Then afterwards, after inputting all the values that can be stored in the server side, whenever we want on that time, we can able to access the data. Regarding that, you have studied in the previous class. Today, you will study regarding what do you mean by web hosting, XML, DHTML as well as web scripting. On today's class, you will study regarding web hosting. What is the main use of web hosting? Which are the types of web hosting? Then, what do you mean by XML, DHTML as well as web scripting? Under that, which are the types of web scripting? Regarding that, you will come to know on today's class. Now, we'll discuss about web hosting. What do you mean by web hosting? Why we require this and which are the different types of web hosting? Now, we will explain you. Okay, in first PUC, you have typed the program that you can able to see the output on the output screen. That program will work only on your system. Is it no? Is it possible to work the same program in other system or internet anywhere? It is not possible. If you want to work that program on the internet, then we have to host that program. That is nothing but web hosting means hosting web service application on a computer system through which electronic content on the internet readily available to anywhere in the web browser client side. It means that here web hosting is nothing but launching our program. In the program, whatever HTML program you have written, that program will work only on your system. If you want to work, that program has to be internet. Then we have to host that program. That program we have to launch on the internet. That is nothing but web hosting. When you perform web hosting, on that time it will provide space on the internet, and by that we can able to open that program anywhere in the world and we can able to work on that. That is nothing but web hosting. Web hosting is nothing but launching our applications, especially web pages on the internet. That is web hosting. When you come on types of web hosting, the first one is free hosting, virtual or shared hosting, dedicated hosting, as well as the last one is co-location hosting. Because in the previous class only I told you the total weightage here 6 marks. Under that for 3 marks, you may going to get the question, what is web hosting? Or explain the types of web hosting. Or for 1 marks, what do you mean by free hosting or virtual hosting, dedicated hosting as well as co-location hosting? Like that also, you may going to get the questions. Now, one by one we'll discuss. First one, free hosting. What do you mean by this free hosting? The name itself suggesting that free hosting. It means that without any cost, we can able to launch our application on the internet. That is free hosting. Without any cost, we can make our program can work on the internet. That is free hosting. Whether this program will work 100% on the internet lifelong? No, it is not possible. Only for limited period of time, this program will work on the internet. Here, for example, in the mobile, you want to download some application. That applications will work only for limited period. That means here, free of cost, when you want to launch your program, then we are using free hosting. Free hosting means launching our application with free of cost. The second one, virtual or shared hosting. The name itself suggesting that shared. What do you mean by this shared hosting? For example, in the college, we have college website. From the college, they were paying the amount to launch their program. On the college website itself, we are going to give our website address. That is shared or virtual hosting. From the college, we have main website. On that main website only, we are going to introduce our website address. From that, I can able to launch my program. That is nothing but virtual or shared hosting. Already one main organization is there. From that organization, on that organization website, I am going to insert my website address. And by that, I can able to work on that. That is virtual or shared hosting. And the last one is dedicated hosting. The name itself suggesting that dedicated is mainly used to perform specific task only. It is for dedication work only. Here, all the transaction, everything is controlled by the main organization only. Space providing, launching the program, how much space it required, where it has to be required, everything is decided by this dedicated hosting only. Here, the main organization is responsible to perform all type of operation. How much space it has to avoid or where it has to be avoid, regarding everything is performed in dedicated hosting. For example, online shopping, Amazon, Flipkart, there it is purely depend on that main organization, where the space it has to be provided, when it has to be provided. There is any problem, then that organization itself is responsible to perform all the operation. The name itself suggesting dedicated. It is mainly dedicated to perform the all operation. And the last one is co-location hosting. Co-location hosting means, consider we have one main organization and one more is sub-organization. The main organization will provide the space for sub-organization. Here, the sub-organization has to pay amount to the main organization. If there is any problem occurs, then the main organization will support for that. Only in co-location hosting, the sub-organization will pay the amount to the main organization. The main organization will provide the space. That's all. But if there is any problem, then main organization is responsible to perform all the operations. Whereas in dedicated hosting, that organization, whichever organization is taking there, that organization itself has to take care of all the information, all the working, all the problem it has to take care. Whereas in co-location hosting, the main organization will provide space. The sub-organization will going to perform, it will going to use the space, that's all. If there is any problem, then main organization only has to solve all the problem. These are the few types of web hosting. Web hosting means launching the application, especially web pages on the internet. It provides space on the internet. There are 4 types: free, virtual, dedicated, as well as co-location hosting. Next, we will discuss about XML. For 1 marks, you may going to get expand XML. XML stands for Extended Markup Language. Extended Markup Language. It's an advanced version of HTML also we can see. In this, it is mainly text-based markup language. Text-based markup language, and it is used for data interchange on the web pages, especially here text-based, and each and every tag required closing tag, and whichever tag name we want, the user there they can give. Whereas in HTML, if I want to make the text as bold, then we are making B tag, we are using B tag specifically. Whereas here, I can write my own tag. For example, I can write bold, then whatever text I want there I can write, and then I can close bold tag. It means that here mainly operations depends on text-based, mainly depend on text-based. And in HTML, for few tags, we does not require closing tag like paragraph tag, BR tag. There it is optional for closing, is it no? Whereas in XML, there is a compulsory to use closing tag also. If you use an opening tag, then it is compulsory to use closing tag. And here, it is most important in every tag has closing tag. Compulsory. If I use a bold tag, then must and should have to close. For example, here if I am going to write message, whichever message tag I want, I can write. Then here I can write the text. Then here I have to close this message tag. Compulsory. It is not optional. Whereas in HTML, it is optional only for few tags. Whereas here, it is compulsory. And it is more flexible. It is more flexible. Whichever pattern we want, we can write. Here, no need to remember all the tags before using. Whereas in HTML, if I want to make the text as italic style, then compulsory I have to use I tag. Whereas here, it is optional. No need to write I tag only. I can directly write italic. Then I can close the tag. And here it is more flexible. Text-based working it will take place and interchanges can be performed here. No need to remember all the tags, more flexible, and every tag must and should have closing tag. These are the few features of XML, that is Extended Markup Language. Next, we will discuss about DHTML. DHTML. In 1 year, they ask this question, expand DHTML. DHTML stands for Dynamic Hypertext Markup Language. Whereas HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Whereas DHTML stands for Dynamic Hypertext Markup Language. Dynamically, we can able to work all the operations here. DHTML refers to web content that changes each time it is viewed. For example, in HTML, if I want to give bold color or bold style or specific color, for example, red, green, on that time, I have to mention which color I want to write there by using font tag. Whereas here, consider this is my output screen. This is my output screen. Here, consider we have some text. On that text, I want to give different colors. For example, in font option, we have several colors like this format. Then, whenever we will move the cursor on that particular color, here itself, the text will change. For example, here I am having the text Anu. When I move the cursor on red color, here it will change red color. When I move cursor at green color, here the green color will change. When I move the cursor here, for example, black color, here the text color will change black color. Automatically, dynamically, I can able to perform different font here. It means that mainly it is dynamically we can able to change the font. It is used to change dynamically the font. Not only color, if I want, I can give different style also. For example, italic style. Consider here a list of styles. All the styles are displayed here. For example, one is bold and one more is italic. Like that, we have several styles. When I move the cursor on this, automatically here the style will change here. Dynamically, the font can be changed. It is an advanced version of HTML. And in HTML, we can change the tag and their properties also. For example, in the font tag, I have to write bold. Whereas by using B tag also, I can able to change the font color as bold or font style is bold. In the same way in DHTML as well as in HTML, there each tag will going to give different meaning. And here I can able to perform drag and drop operation. Whichever operation we want, that we can drag and we can drop here. Drag and drop operation is possible here in DHTML. The main thing you have to remember, it's an advanced version of HTML. Dynamically I can change the font, styles, colors, design, everything we can able to change. With that, here it will perform in interactive format. And with that, we can able to perform drag and drop operations here. These are the few major operations of DHTML. And the next one, we will discuss about web scripting. What do you mean by web scripting? Or I can say it is a process of creating and embedding script in a web pages is called it as web scripting. Or I can say that a creating of HTML program or it's a process of creating web pages is also called as web scripting. It's a process of creating and embedding the script. Whatever program in HTML you will write, that program itself we can call it as web scripting. And in this, the programming language in which scripts are written or called as web scripting language. If I want, I can write by using HTML, DHTML, XML. By using all those, I can able to create my web pages. Is it no? That language itself is called as web scripting language. And there are many scripting languages available nowadays. The most commonly used are web script, that is VB script, JavaScript, XML, HTML, all can be called as web scripting languages. When they come on types of web scripting, one is client-side scripting and one more is server-side scripting. There are two types of scripting. One is client-side scripting and one more is server-side scripting. Now you come to know what do you mean by web script? That is, web scripting is nothing but creating and embedding the web pages. That can be called as web scripting. Two types, client-side scripting as well as server-side scripts. Now one by one we'll discuss. That is, first we'll discuss about client-side scripts. The name itself suggesting that client-side script. It means that all the transaction will take place with the help of client only. Whereas server-side scripting means all the transactions takes place with the help of server. Then what do you mean by client and what do you mean by server? The server is the one who supplies all the resources to the client. The client is the one who uses all the resources. For example, in the hotel, the server work is to provide all the items. Is it no? Wherever the item is there, he will bring and he will supply. In the same way, in client, just ordering whichever item he wants. In the same way, server work is to provide the services. Where exactly the data is present, where it will stored, regarding that mainly it will deal. And with that, it provides the resources also. Whereas client work is to just ordering, I want so and so data. Whereas in client-side scripting, all the interaction takes place within client only. Here, client-side scripting enables interaction within a web page. The main thing here, the client will perform all the operations. The client-side scripts are downloaded at the client end itself and then interpreted and executed by the browser. All the transaction, all the work, everything is done by client only. And the client-side scripting is browser dependent. Whichever browser we want, depending upon that, we can able to perform our operation. Whether it's a Google Chrome or any Chrome, Internet Explorer, anything, whichever Chrome you are using, depending upon that, the operation will perform. Whereas client-side scripting is used when the client-side interaction is used. Mainly, interaction takes place between the user only here. Example, online games. These are the few examples for client-side scripting. Whereas in client-side scripting, all the transactions takes place with the help of client only. Here, whichever browser you want, he can use. And transaction performed by client only. Example, online games. Next, we'll discuss about server-side scripting. Server-side script. What do you mean by this? Here, all the transactions takes place with the help of server only. All the transactions takes place by the server only and he will be the main in charger. In server-side scripting enables the completion or carrying out a task at the server end only and then sending the resource or everything, all the operations are performed by server only. In server-side scripting, the server does all the work. So it does not matter which browser it is using here. Whereas in client-side scripting, whichever browser they want, they can able to perform. Whereas here, the browser, whichever may be, that doesn't matter. The server itself will perform all the operation. Whereas in server-side scripting is used when the information is sent to a server to be processed at the server end only. And some popular server-side scripting languages like HPHP, that is Hypertext Preprocessor. And here mainly this example for password protection, how much space it required, all the operations are performed under server-side scripting. Whereas when they come on scripting, two types, client-side and one more is server-side. Client-side means all the transactions are performed by clients only. And example, online games. Whereas in server-side scripting, the server will perform all the operations like memory allocation, how much space it has to be allocated, where it has to be allocated, when it has to be allocated. Everything is decided by server only. And any browser, also here also we can use, but the main operation is performed by server. Example, password protection, space protection, as well as how much space it has to be allocated. Everything mainly here it will deal. These are the major concept on this chapter you have studied. That is, what do you mean by HTML? It is used to create web pages. What do you mean by website? Website is nothing but collection of web pages. Then the general structure of HTML. Then like different types of tags like text tag, formatting tag, resizing tag, text layout tag, number listing tag, as well as how to create a table, which are the table elements like tr, td, th. Tr stands for table row, TD stands for table data, TH stands for table data, TD stands for table data. These are the few major form table elements. Then when you come on forms, there are also several form elements. This form helps to input the data on the output screen, and here the form elements may be password, drop down, text field, text area, submit, reset. These are the few form elements. Regarding that already you have studied in the previous class. Whereas in this class, you have studied regarding what do you mean by web hosting? That is about launching the applications. Different types of web hosting like free hosting, dedicated, co-location or shared hosting. What are the main uses of that? What do you mean by web scripting? What do you mean by DHTML, XML? Regarding that, you have studied on this class. The major questions from this chapter you may going to get: what is HTML or general structure of HTML? Otherwise, for 1 marks or for 2 marks or for 3 marks, they may going to ask, what do you mean by XML? Just explain XML, explain DHTML or explain HTML. Or what do you mean by web hosting? Explain different types of web hosting. What do you mean by web scripting? Which are the different types of web scripting? Like that, you may going to get the questions in the annual exam. Next class, we will meet with once again with a new concept. Thank you for all of you.